The wind strikes the fuselage as if trying to wake something that has slept for decades. Down below, the sea drags itself against the rocks in a slow, almost hypnotic rhythm, and the white foam draws patterns no one observes. At the top of the cliff, half swallowed by wild vegetation, a commercial airplane rests on the tall grass. The windows are opaque. The paint that was once white is now a patchwork of rust and moss. One of the wings points toward the sky like an arm begging for help. The other one is gone. Inside, the scene is even more surreal. Rows of seats covered by a thick layer of dust and dry leaves that accumulated over the years. Spiderwebs connect the overhead compartments like forgotten silk threads. Light enters through the fogged windows and draws golden rectangles on the tilted floor. The center aisle is overtaken by thin roots that found their way through cracks in the flooring. It smells of wet earth, old metal, and frozen time. An in-flight magazine, swollen with moisture, is still open to the route map page. Routes this airplane will never fly again. A bird entered through the half-open emergency door and built a nest in the overhead compartment. Feathers and dry twigs mix with oxygen masks dangling from the ceiling like frozen jellyfish. Nature didn't invade this airplane. She adopted it. And now someone needs to negotiate with her to reclaim it. But this someone doesn't look at this ruin and see an abandoned airplane. They see a floor plan. They see curved walls no architect would draw by choice. They see panoramic windows that frame the ocean like living paintings. They see a fuselage of aeronautical aluminum, stronger than any conventional wall, engineered to withstand pressurization at 36,000 feet. And they see the cliff, not as an obstacle, but as a foundation. This is where the transformation begins. The first phase is the most brutal. Crews in thick gloves rip out each seat, one by one. The sound of metal releasing from the rails echoes through the empty fuselage like a short, dry scream. Piles of deteriorated foam, broken plastic, and moldy fabric exit through the emergency doors and pile up on the grass. Industrial vacuums suck up decades of dust, and the air inside the airplane changes. It becomes lighter, cleaner, almost breathable for the first time in years. The carpets are torn out in long strips, revealing the original metal floor covered in scuff marks. Each mark tells a story of dragged suitcases and hurried shoes. Then the overhead compartments. One by one, the lids are removed. Inside, what remained? Forgotten sunglasses, a child's sock, a crumpled boarding pass dated nearly 30 years ago. Ownerless objects that time preserved better than any museum. They are catalogued, photographed, and stored. They don't belong to anyone anymore, but they belong to this story. The skeleton of the aircraft appears for the first time. Aluminum longerons, transverse beams, the precise geometry of engineering that was made to fly and will now learn to stand still. With the interior stripped bare, the true shape of the fuselage reveals itself. It's larger than it looks from outside. The internal diameter exceeds 18 feet, enough to create spaces that breathe. The usable length offers more than 100 linear feet of habitable area. And that curvature, that smooth and continuous curve that once contained passengers, will now contain a home. But first, the structure needs to be treated. Every inch of corrosion is sanded by hand. The sound of sandpaper against aluminum produces a rhythmic, constant hiss, almost meditative. Flakes of rust fall like orange snow. In some spots, the metal is so thin that sunlight passes through. These sections receive reinforcement with new plates, riveted using the same original technique. The sound of the pneumatic riveter pulses like a heartbeat. Then a coat of anti-corrosive primer transforms the dull metal into a smooth, uniform gray. The fuselage stops aging at that exact moment. Outside, the power wash reveals surprises. Pressurized water jets remove layers of moss and grime, and beneath it all, fragments of the original paint appear, a blue stripe, part of a logo that no longer exists. The letters of the airline's name emerge like ghosts beneath the peeling paint. No one paints over them. They stay there like beautiful scars, memory of what this body once was. The anchoring to the cliff is the most critical moment of the entire build. Diamond-tipped drills bore cylindrical cavities into the granite rock every 5 feet. Steel rods with epoxy resin are inserted into the cavities, and rock and metal fuse into a foundation that withstands winds of 100 miles per hour. The fuselage is lifted by 2 cranes working in millimetric synchrony and positioned over the reinforced concrete base that embraces the edge of the precipice. The support pillars disappear beneath the structure, invisible. When the cables release and the airplane settles onto its new foundation, something unexpected happens. It looks like it has always been there, as if the cliff had grown around it. Now the interior takes shape. Tempered glass and brushed steel dividers create the rooms without blocking the passage of light. The floor receives a thermal and acoustic blanket that eliminates any metallic resonance. Then wide planks of white oak that click into place, each piece custom cut to follow the curvature of the floor. The sound of footsteps changes instantly, before cold metallic echo. Now the warm, muffled touch of solid wood. The interior walls receive micro-cement panels in a sand tone that follow the original curve of the fuselage, creating an enveloping sensation, almost like a polished cave. Running your hand over the surface feels like something between stone and silk. The plumbing and wiring run inside the double walls, through the same paths the old pneumatic and electrical systems used. It's as if the airplane already knew from the factory that one day it would need plumbing and 110-volt outlets. No false walls were necessary. Aeronautical engineering, without knowing it, designed the perfect infrastructure for a home. The cockpit transforms into the office. The instrument panels are removed with surgical care. Every screw, every wire, every gauge documented and numbered. But the panoramic windshield remains intact, cleaned for the first time in decades, and the amount of light that floods in surprises even those who planned the project. And when you sit there, in the leather chair that replaced the captain's seat, the view is absurd. 180 degrees of open ocean, unframed, unobstructed, just blue as far as the curvature of the earth allows. The desk is a single piece of walnut on a base of aeronautical aluminum repurposed from the fuselage itself. The original control yoke was kept and works as a bookend. The central section becomes the living room, and this is where the airplane's curvature works magic. The rounded ceiling creates a natural acoustic envelope that wraps around every sound. The crackle of a built-in ethanol fireplace seems to come from all sides at once. The modular sofa follows the curve of the wall, covered in raw linen, deep enough to disappear into. Cushions in earthy tones. A coffee table made from a section of the original wing, cut, sanded, and polished until it looks like a gallery sculpture. The old airplane windows, now cleaned and sealed with double glazing, function as natural light niches that shift angle as the sun moves. In the morning, the light enters low and golden. At noon, it rises to the ceiling. At dusk, it turns orange and horizontal, and the entire room seems to catch fire without heat. The kitchen occupies the section just behind. White quartzite countertops follow the interior curvature and create a generous island in the center, with room for 4 tall leather and steel bar stools. Built-in stainless steel appliances vanish behind the panels when closed. A silent range hood descends from the curved ceiling on demand. The detail that changes everything. An elliptical skylight cut directly into the fuselage, sealed with triple glass, through which a column of light enters and illuminates the countertop like a natural spotlight. In the morning, the sun falls precisely onto the cutting board. At night, you see the stars while washing the dishes. The kitchen floor receives charcoal-toned porcelain tile that contrasts with the white quartzite. Bare feet feel the radiant heating running beneath like a warm, invisible river. Next to the refrigerator, a niche with amber lighting holds wine bottles on their sides. The constant temperature of the insulated and ventilated fuselage creates a perfect accidental wine cellar. 57 degrees year-round without a single climate controller. The remaining wing receives a structural steel extension and transforms into a suspended deck over the cliff. The surface gets treated teak decking, with perfect joints that absorb rainwater without pooling. An infinity edge pool occupies the final third, lined with black glass mosaic tiles that make the water look like a dark mirror. The edge of the pool aligns with the horizon. When the water is still, the ocean and the pool merge into a single surface. Lying there, you don't know where one ends and the other begins. The sound of the waves arrives muffled, distant, like a slow breath that never stops. Aluminum and nautical mesh lounge chairs line the edge. An outdoor freshwater shower falls from a copper pipe that emerges from the fuselage like an exposed vein. The deck has ground-level lighting that turns on automatically when the sun disappears, and each teak plank glows as if wet with honey. At the rear of the fuselage, the master suite. The space that was once the tail is now the quietest room in the house. Triple acoustic insulation, mineral wool, air chamber, fiberboard panel, transforms the interior into a cocoon where the only sound is your own breathing. The king bed is positioned facing a window that was enlarged and replaced with a floor-to-ceiling glass panel with no visible frame. The view is vertical: rock, foam, ocean, sky. Like a living painting that never repeats and never tires of surprising. Motorized raw linen curtains descend without a sound when the sensor detects sunrise, for those who prefer 5 more minutes of sleep. The adjacent bathroom kept the original elliptical shape of the tail and turned the limitation into luxury. A bathtub sculpted from dark gray volcanic stone, weighing nearly half a ton, that required its own crane to bring inside. A ceiling rain shower with tropical rainfall effect. Aged copper faucets that develop green patina over time, more beautiful each passing week. The steam rises and the curvature of the ceiling makes it circulate, creating a mist that hovers like a cloud inside a heated cavern. The mirror fogs, and through it, the outline of the ocean is still visible, like a mirage shimmering with heat. The lighting transforms everything at nightfall. LED strips embedded in the exposed ceiling, longerons create lines of light that follow the contour of the fuselage like luminous veins of a living organism. The color temperature shifts automatically, white and clean during the day, soft amber at dusk, nearly orange at night. Each restored window becomes a point of light glowing against the dark sky. Seen from outside, from the sea, from a boat passing in the darkness, the airplane on the cliff looks like a landed vessel, alive, pulsing with warm light while the ocean roars below. The sound system is embedded in the structure itself. Flat speakers mounted on the longerons use the entire fuselage as a resonance chamber. The aluminum vibrates and the sound takes on a quality no conventional speaker can reproduce. Deep bass you feel in your feet, velvety mids, highs that float as if coming from the walls. When the music plays, the entire airplane sings. The nearest neighbors are miles away. No one complains. No one hears. Only the sea keeps rhythm. Every detail was designed to remember what this space once was. Door handles made from original landing gear parts, polished until they shine like industrial jewels. Light fixtures created from the landing lights, projecting cones of warm light into the reading corners. The flight number engraved discreetly on the threshold of the front door. Restored emergency exit signs framed as minimalist art on the hallway walls. The seatbelts were turned into cabinet door straps. The original buckle works as a latch. Nothing is generic decoration bought from a catalog. Everything has a story. Everything once flew. The front door is the original boarding door, restored and motorized. It opens with a pneumatic sigh that sounds exactly as it did when it received passengers. The difference is that now, on the other side, there is no airport corridor with fluorescent lights. There is a path of natural stones flanked by wild grass, the sound of the wind, and in the distance, the entire ocean waiting. And then you stop. You step out onto the deck, walk to the edge of the pool, and look back. An airplane the world abandoned. That rust ate from the inside, that roots invaded from below, that time tried to erase in every way it knows. Now it is a house that floats between sky and sea, anchored to a cliff as if this had always been the plan. Every curve tells a dual story, of the thousands of flights it made, and of the new life that was born after it stopped flying. The wind keeps striking the fuselage, exactly as it did before, exactly as it did when it was cutting through clouds at 36,000 feet. But now, someone is inside to listen.